Maybe one from like when you were traveling. Oh, you know what? I like the one where you like met like a drug dealer or something.
Oh yes,
I like that one.
I forgot about this one. Oh gosh, that was crazy. Okay, so reflecting back on my traveling time, I was in a place called Honduras, and at this point, me and the people I was traveling with, like the people I had met, we kind of all split up, and we had gone separate cities. So I was by myself, which again, when you're by yourself, you want to meet people and whatever else. So I happened to be like by myself walking through this really like this town was like no one stays in this town. It's like a town that you go to and catch a boat to go to the islands. Like you don't actually, no one stays in it because it's quite rough.
Right.
So I didn't know that. And I had booked like this hotel for a few days because it was over Christmas. So I wanted to have like a home base to like Skype my parents and all that kind of stuff. So walking around this town and I'm just like walking and there's like this, I'm going past this like really sketchy bar and there's like all these guys outside, like a lot older. And they start like catcalling me.
What?
Yeah,
oh, I remember this.
Awkward. Yeah. And they were like one of them was like, hey, how's it going? And they were speaking in English to me. And I was like, oh, I'm fine. How are you? And then they were like, hey, you should come join us for a drink. Blah, blah. And it just, the whole atmosphere was like really, really shady. And I was
it
like,
a gay
I'm
bar?
just looking for well, I think so, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure. And then to make it worse, they like called into the bar and got one of their friends to come out who was a lot younger to kind of like entice me, I guess, or like get me to sit with them. I was like, no, guys, I'm fine. Like, I just want to go get something to eat. And they're like, oh, if you go around this corner and down this road, there's a really good restaurant down there. And I was like, okay. So I start walking and I look down this like alleyway and I was like, hey, this is really sketchy. So I didn't go down there and just walk the other way. And that's when I ran into this drug dealer.
Oh my God. Wait.
So then I ran into the drug dealer.
Yeah.
And I at first I didn't know he was a drug dealer. And I was like, hey, how are you? And well, he ran into me because like there's not many tourists there. And he's like, hey, what are you doing here? I was like, oh, I'm catching a boat in the next couple of days to go to the islands, but I'm just here for a few days. And then I was like, do you know where a good restaurant is? Because those guys over there told me to go down this like alley. And he's like, there's no restaurants down there. I was like,
oh
my
God.
God. Like, that's scary.
That is scary.
And then he's like, come with me. I'll take you to a restaurant. And I was like, oh God, what am I getting myself into? So went with this guy.
And you followed him.
Yes. Went with this guy. He actually took me to a really nice like it was like a local restaurant or whatever, and he like paid for everything and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really nice, like cool. And then he's like, tonight, it was Christmas Eve actually, and he's like, tonight's a really big night to go out for like people in Honduras. He's like, do you want to come out? Like, well, I'll take you out on the town or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and he was quite attractive as well, so that's probably why I was like, oh
yeah.
So he's like, I'll pick you up from your hotel at around like 8 or something. And I was like, okay,
oh
cool.
Lord.
So he actually showed up, took me out, and it was actually really sweet though. Like, he took me to his family's house and we had like a big Christmas dinner with them.
That is insane.
I know. It's looking back, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But anyway, so he took me to this big Christmas dinner with his family. We all went to midnight mass at the church. So like me and his family and like everyone was there. And then we went back to his place where he was living. We were all like getting ready. He was getting ready to go out and stuff. And then it was just me and him, and he took me to these clubs, and they were actually really nice. Like he was like paying for everything. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is awesome.
Why.
Exactly. And then a lot of people like knew him, but it was like really kind of suspicious. Like, he would like talk to somebody and then they would disappear for a while, and then he would come back, and then he would like talk to somebody else. And then we went to this one bar and he disappeared for a while. And then one of the bouncers came up to me and was like, hey, your friend's around the back and he wants to talk to you. And I was like, what the fuck?
What?
So I was like, yeah. So I went around the back of this like nightclub into this like really shady part, and
oh my God.
He was just like, he was there with a couple other people, and they needed like some kind of like surface to like, do stuff off of. And so he asked me,
you can just say it, Daniel. He wanted to do coke,
okay.
right?
Yes, he wanted to do
cocaine.
coke, and so he needed like keys or something. So I like gave him my hotel keys. Oh God! And then at that point, I was like, "Hey, this is really sketchy." And then I was like, and so then we left, and I asked him, because then at this point we're with some other people as well. And I was like, "Hey, like, how come literally everybody in this town knows you? Like, everyone, like everywhere we go." And he was like, well, if I was the doctor, I'm the supplier of medicine to the people or something. And I was like, this is a crazy situation. I need to leave. Like,
oh God.
Because, yeah, at that point I was like, hey, this really isn't safe. Like, I don't know what's going on. But like, I mean, to his credit, like, he was actually really nice to me. But, had there been like some kind of raid or whatever else, like, I would have been associated with this guy, right?
Exactly.
And I think the whole reason why he was like taking me around is probably because it gave him like extra credit or something. Like it looks good that he's like with a, you know, a tourist or whatever else. I don't know what it was.
Do you think so?
Like, I think it gives you an extra level of like, not necessarily credibility, but like it looks like you like, I don't know. Anyway, so
Do you think he wasn't just being friendly? Or do you think he had ulterior motives?
I don't know. Like to this day, I still don't know because like, you know, maybe he wanted to hook up with me. Who knows?
Do you think he was gay?
No. I'm pretty sure he was straight, like 99.9%.
I find it so interesting that he invited you to his family dinner.
I know, it was crazy. Like I remember the whole time too, because like I am, you know me, I'm like, I get quite nervous about stuff. So like I remember going and just being like, oh my God, am I gonna die? Especially when we were walking to his parents' house